Fractures of the nasal septum. Etiopathogenesis. Trauma inflicted on the nose from the front, side, or below can result in injuries to the nasal septum. The septum may buckle on itself, fracture vertically or horizontally, or be crushed to pieces as in a smashed nose. The fractured pieces of septum may overlap each other or project into the nasal cavity through mucosal tears. Fracture of the nasal septum or its dislocation from the vomerine groove can result from trauma to the lower nose without associated fracture of the nasal bones. Septal injuries with mucosal tears cause profuse epistaxis, while those with intact mucosa result in septal hematoma, which, if not drained early, will cause absorption of the septal cartilage and saddle nose deformity. Jarjeve fracture of the nasal septum results from blows from the front. It starts just above the anterior nasal spine, runs horizontally backwards, just above the junction of the septal cartilage with the vomer. I repeat, Jarjeve fracture of the nasal septum results from blows from the front. It starts just above the anterior nasal spine and runs horizontally backwards just above the junction of the septal cartilage with the vomer. Chevalet fracture of the nasal septum cartilage results from blows from below. It runs vertically from the anterior nasal spine upwards to the junction of bony and cartilaginous dorsum of the nose. These are septal fractures. This is a Jarjeve fracture, and this vertically is a Chevalet type nasal septal fracture. The Jarjeve fracture, the Chevalet fracture. Treatment. Early recognition and treatment of septal injuries is essential. Hematomas should be drained. Dislocated or fractured septal fragments should be repositioned and supported between mucoperichondral flaps with mattress sutures and nasal packing. Fractures of nasal pyramid are often complicated with fractures of the septum, and both should be treated concomitantly. The instruments used in managing these fractures are the Ash and the Walsham forceps. The Ash is for the septum and the Walsham is for the nasal bones. Complications. Septum is important in supporting the lower part of the external nose. I repeat, septum is important in supporting the lower part of external nose. If its injuries are ignored, they would result in deviation of the cartilaginous nose or asymmetry of nasal tip, columella, or the nostril. Here we have a comprehensive overview of septal fractures.